Bitebrative and voice of salary. Conversations with Mambi, we rising. Empowering the future, standing strong. Zambia's you, where we all belong. Together we dream, together we grow. Building democracy, let the vision flow. Our voices matter, our story shine. It's our moment, this is our time. We rise, we shine, we build together. The future's bright, it starts right here. Zambia's you, bold and clever. Stronger each day, the vision is clear. Hosted by Mambi Musonda, with voices that shape tomorrow. Elias Musonda Pankata, Luimvula Zulu, Raidan New Zulu, Lushomo Hamahuwa. We rise, we shine, we build together. The future's bright, the time is now. Raise your voice, stand firm forever. Zambia has you, we lead with power.
Good morning. How are you? I am privileged to be back here today on Saturday, November 15th, 2025, for another edition of Conversations with Muhambi. I'm excited to be with you today. Please share the link, subscribe, tell people that we are live. I'm excited to have someone special here with us. As you know that one of the hallmarks of the show is we like to uplift our youth voices, especially in Zambia. And we're very privileged and we're very honored to be living in a society where young people are not afraid of stepping up. And today I have someone who is an example of that hallmark. He is 21 years old. So he's 21 years old and he is running for mayor of Choma. Yeah, he's 21 years old and he's running for mayor. Please welcome Mr. Lushomo. Lushomo, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
I'm doing well. Welcome to the show. Introduce yourself to the audience. Tell people who you are and your journey to this moment.
Okay, again, how are you, everybody? My name is Lushomo Hamahuwa. I'm from Choma, but currently in Lusaka because of school and stuff. And actually, the media has had it to say I'm 21 years old. It was just an oversight within the interview. I'm 22 years, close to 21. Yes, and
welcome to the next level.
yes.
When was your birthday?
My birthday was on the 2nd of July.
Okay. Happy birthday to happy late birthday. Oh my goodness. Okay. 22. Yes. The media said you're 21, but that's still young.
Yes. And, my journey, I was raised in the backyards of Choma. We have been youths of Choma. Almost everybody knows us. And I started my primary education at St. Patrick's. Never had an opportunity to attend baby class or nursery. And from there, I transited to Choma Day Secondary School. That's where I did my secondary education from 8th grade to 12th grade. Then later on, I had a wonderful opportunity in society where I did some worked for a supermarket at a certain time. I was trained as a citizen journalist. That is where now I even got the passion to do politics more. It was a vision which I've had ever since I was young, but after engaging with my community, I felt I cannot just be a mouthpiece through journalism, but I have to really walk the talk. Then I decided to come and study law at Cavendish University. And here we are today with an aspiration which was planted years ago. We are running for Choma Mayor 2026.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Yeah.
22 years old, and you are already running for mayor. I mean, so you already talked about this, but tell us a little bit more about what inspired, what is it about politics? Because I feel like there is a belief among many people, especially among us as young people. We don't really think that politics is an effective vehicle to bring about social good. But as you said, you are a citizen journalist. You had experiences in your community where you decided, okay, maybe politics is a way for me to bring about change. So why politics? Why public service? Why are you desiring to go into a field in which it is said that politics is a dirty game? What is it about politics that draws you?
Okay. I've really noticed that to say people have always had issues about politics, calling it a dirty game. And for me, considering it as a drive towards change, we cannot despise a system which is in charge of a clean society, a system which is in charge of a safe society, a system which is in charge of a healthy society, a system which is in charge of our livelihood as a nation. So, if that is the system which is available, I think it is better for us to find ourselves in that system so that we can make decisions on how we can change the society. I think it would be unwise for us to dream of another alternative way to make a difference in society when the direct route towards making that change is through politics. And this is the only institution which has been established, which has been given a mandate to look at the social livelihood of its citizens. So, in as much as we might have the desire to make a change, how effective has it been? We have civil societies, organizations, and individuals uh, at personal level who have decided to make a change in society. But at the end of everything, we realize to say that civil societies, organizations, even the same people who have desired to make a change in society are still controlled, others are stopped, and others are influenced again, and their duties are influenced by political leaders. So now, if we have a system of political leaders who really do not feel the impact to bring true change into the people, I think it would be best to work on that system up there as we get to create a favorable ground for those who also want to make a change at personal level and at organizational level.
Thank you for that response. And I like what you said, that politics is the only vehicle that's mandate is the social good of the people. Because I think people forget that's the reason why you have politics. That's the reason why you have democracy. The root word of democracy is people. And so
Yes,
politics, as you articulated, is the only vehicle. Yes, you have civil society, you have the public sector, you have the private sector, but politics is the only vehicle that's mandate is for the social good of the people. And building upon that question, um, I read in an article about you, you were inspired by Barack Obama, as many of us were are. Yeah, especially those of us who are I was born 2004. Obviously you're a year younger than me, so he was, at least for me in America, he was really the first president that I remember seeing on TV, and for many people around the world. So talk about Barack Obama's impact on you. He's from Kenya, or Zambian, but he impacted us. So talk a little bit about his impact, and how he sort of how his words, or his how Barack Obama led you down toward considering a path toward politics. So you talked about you've had this political ambition since you were young. So talk a little bit about your political ambitions when you were a young man, or you're still a young man, but when you were younger.
yes. So I think there was a way that article was written,
Hmm.
and some people were like, how come like they were trying to calculate the age. So what
Yes, I
really
remember the comments.
meant there, yes, what really meant there is it was in 2007 when Barack Obama was addressing a crowd in Chicago,
Yes.
and he was giving a certain speech, and I watched the video of Obama in 2007, and I think that was in 2011 when I was watching that video. I was in my first grade, 2011.
Mm.
The video was pre in 2007, and I loved what really interested me with Barack Obama was his confidence,
Yes.
and
Shoma, you there?
so the I'm sorry.
No
So
problem.
what really interested me was how Obama was about like the talk of everybody. I was too young by then.
Yes.
So my father loved Barack Obama so much. I remember we even had a CD which rooted his documentary. Like it had his lifestyle and life story. And I was so interested in Barack Obama. I listened to his speech. I had mastered that speech from A up to Z, like in my mind. So I would sit down. I remember I would sit down. I would tell my friends to sit, and I would stand before them and I would imitate Barack Obama. And I started loving the man in time, and I got an interest in knowing what politics is all about. But later, there was just a sudden switch from Barack Obama to African politics. I
Mm.
fell now in love with our own African heroes, in as much as Obama sourced his roots to Africa, but I had now fallen in love with African heroes like Patrice Lumumba,
Yes.
on Kenneth Kaunda,
Yes.
Kwame
Oh,
Nkrumah.
yeah.
Those are the people I'd come to love now. The likes of Nelson Mandela. So those are people I now I come to love. So for Barack Obama, it was just the interest to see this young man. He looked young at that time.
Yeah.
This man whose story is rooted from Africa and is the talk of everybody. And my mind was like, I have to make an impact like this young man, that like this man, Barack Obama. But all of a sudden, it was just now a shift from Barack Obama to our African heroes. So much with Barack Obama, I might not get to express much, but he was the first glance of my political ambition.
Wow, that's amazing, and I like what you said about our African heroes too, because I've also taken an interest in Kenneth Kaunda, of course, who's our first president, Patrice Lumumba, and Kwame Nkrumah, who were heroes in the African movement. So my next question is, as you run for mayor, what do you hope to achieve in your role as mayor? What are the policies that you want to focus on?
Okay, so I think we have really spoken about youth participation in politics. What has been of a concern to me was the fact that we speak about youth participation, but the system does not really reflect youth participation. My main concern, especially with being mayor for Choma district, is us as the youths of Choma to really work on the agricultural sector because that is the environment we have been raised in. For us to work on creating Choma a place of dreams, creating hope for Choma, bringing in youth involvement in politics. I believe to say we can do a lot for Choma as youths. We can be part of uh, the story for Choma as pioneers of true change. Yes, we have had change, but we're talking of true change where almost every politician has spoken about youth involvement. We must now be the evidence of youth involvement. We want to create a system, or we want Choma to send a message to the world to say that youths actually have never just been a correction of different age groups, but we can still create uh, something impactful in society. So one of the things we want to bring about is uh, productivity in agricultural sectors. We want to bring in the aspect of accountability. We want to create a platform in Choma which will help um, hold leaders, hold ourselves and accountable. We want to create a society of ideas
Mm.
whose main goal or whose main aim is for development. Those are things we really want to focus on. But our main endeavor is Choma itself being able to create projects, to create job opportunities, to create hope for its own people, even without the full involvement of the central government. That is what we really want to work in.
A society of ideas. A society of ideas is what you envision. So how do you envision Choma's development over the next 5 to 10 years, and what do you see yourself playing in it as mayor?
Okay, so one thing I would love us to identify is who we are and our own environment. Southern Province is an agricultural province.
Hmm.
We speak of agriculture. Agriculture is the order of the day. I think that's why the writer in the article mentioned something like Lushomo has been brought up among cow dung and stuff like that. The writer also recognizes the environment Choma is in. And I'm somebody who loves to work with what I have. I can never dream of working with something I do not have. So, how we envision Choma, I envision Choma as a place where it is a hub for all Zambians to find opportunities there. We want to create Choma a space of opportunities. I envision Choma to be the main food basket of Zambia. Not only Southern Province being a food basket of Zambia, but Choma at large
Wow.
being the key player in uh, in the agricultural sector in Zambia. Um, we want to work on projects which will also grow our financial status as a municipal, to create employment, to create sanitation, proper sanitation, good road networks, and other developmental agendas we might have. But our main aim is to correct ideas from society, because I might have the idea, but you also have an idea as a resident of Choma, and we can still work with your ideas. I can also work with my idea. But how do we reach towards a genuine consensus? It's by us coming in together, create an opportunity, and have ways of funding such projects in a more unified manner. So that is what we really have for Choma. That is what we really envision for Choma, a space where agriculture plays the economical role for our people.
I've been through. So last year when I was in Zambia for vacation, I went this year when during August before I went to school, and then I went last year for a longer vacation. I actually I was going to Livingston with some of my relatives, and it was my first time going through Southern Province. And we went through Mazabuka, we went through Choma, we went to Kolomo, we went through all the towns. And what I noticed when I was there is, and every province is different, but this was my first time going down to Southern Province. When I'm in Zambia, I usually go up, Kawe, I go to Ndola because I have family up there. Southern Province is very different, and as you touched on it, it's very agricultural. There's a lot of farmland. It's not like some of the other places in the country. Of course, there's farmland everywhere, but Southern Province is different from my experience there, because there is heavy reliance on agriculture. And you touched on that. Agriculture will play a big role in your administration if you're a mayor. So my second question is, how will you engage with the community? You already touched on it, but how will you engage with the community to ensure that their voices are being heard in the decision making process?
Okay, so I've been trying to look in those same lines, and my thought was creating a congress of citizens or
Mm,
residents of Choma, which involves both the business sector, our women, representatives of the youth society, civil societies around Choma, and these are the people who have actually now to really be the voice. And we have been envisioning to call this group of people as the People's Congress of Choma.
people.
Why? Because we want ideas of development to come directly from the people rather than the 28 heads which are in the council.
Mm,
And I think this is a system which can also help promote accountability for the leaders, get directly what the people of Choma really desire and really want to see in Choma. So we want to create a platform as we are ushered in. I believe we are coming in 2026. As we come in, we want to create a platform where we have representatives from all ages, starting from the youth, the adults, and the business sector, civil societies, into one place. And the main idea, again, I'll use this term again, it is to create a society of ideas for development.
mm,
Mean to say that all plans that are dedicated to creating Choma a place or a city of dreams must come directly from the people rather than from 28 heads. And that's
mm.
why we are noticing to say that we might have the idea as a council, but in time we get to realize to say that actually this is not what really people have desired to see. Meaning to say the people have the desire, the people have the vision of what they really want to see. And this is now what we want to create. Let the ideas come directly from the people through that same Congress rather than a selective group of people to make decisions for over 50,000 residents of Choma. That is how we want to bring in a society. All Choma residents must have a say in that development. So whatsoever we are planning for must not only come from us, but the whole agenda, the whole ideas must come from society. That is what we want to create.
And it ties into my next question because people, the citizens, rightly feel like government doesn't work for them. And your idea, you want to make a people's congress where stakeholders in Choma are actually making decisions for themselves rather than relying on, a group of folks outside making
Yes.
decisions for Choma. What steps, as mayor, will you take to promote transparency and accountability in local government?
Okay. So, as I mentioned earlier, the People's Congress itself will also get to constitute, mean to say, in as much as we have a council, the municipal council, which is directed by the Local Governments Act, we're also coming up with another set of council, a form of a council, which is the People's Congress. So the council itself must be part of this Congress because we are the group of people or group of elected individuals to make sure to say the people's voices are what are heard. So if we can come up with that, I think that makes it easier for the same Congress to find out from us to say, we spoke about such programs, we spoke about such projects. How far have you gone about them? It makes it easier for the people to have a direct interaction with council members on projects they have had in mind, and also the people who have already come up with projects on how far the council has gone on making sure to say those projects are working or are functioning. So if we can create such a spectrum, we are talking of a society of people who have a direct link in decision making and a direct link in communicating with their leaders and finding out on how projects and how the local government is running. For me, that already creates a safe space for accountability, because we are having a direct interaction with the people. That creates a direct link for transparency, because on a day-to-day basis, our projects, our budgets, and everything will be recognized and will be, I'm lacking a better term to use, but will be approved by the people themselves. So we are not coming up to say, we are the council, let us approve such and such and such a project. But we are saying the people have submitted this, and we are the council. Which one are we taking as an emergency project so that we work on it? Mean to say, the people, for them to give such a suggestion, they must also now feel part of the project. They
Mm.
must be able to say, okay, since now we have commenced on this project we submitted to you, we know to say that this project will make such a cost, and this project will require such a cost. We need to say there's already transparency with us. The project is us to approve, but the public or the citizens, it is for them to submit. That is transparency enough for me, rather than making projects in secrecy. Then you just come and get told to say, we made a project and this was the budget for the project. And us as the people right now, the only thing is, okay, we are cool with it, we have noticed it, we have seen the work happening. But no one really knows to say, was it true that this was a proper assumption to how far we can invest in such a project? Because the people are not part of it. We are just telling them on what we want to achieve. But if the people can plan on what they want to achieve, means that the people will tell us how much we must spend in each project. And later on, they can still come back to us and say, we had such a project and we brought such a project. And we know to say this project cannot cost more than this. But if we cannot submit checks and balances, then we are already accountable to the people. We must answer to the people, because the people are the owners of that project. We are just custodian of the resources.
You're talking about making a Congress of different stakeholders, of different leaders, community leaders, civic leaders, leaders in the private sector. How will you balance everyone's individual need? How will you balance the needs of stakeholders such as farmers, business leaders, residents, other community members? How will you manage that as mayor? Because again, as you said, you want to create a society of ideas, and everyone's going to have different competing ideas. So how will you balance those needs as mayor?
So, one thing I've come to notice, especially about politics, is that politicians or politics, the system itself, in as much as its main interest is for a singular citizen, but they get to look at a whole. The political arena looks at the citizens as the whole Zambian. So when the government is coming up with projects, they're looking at what benefits the 20 million citizens of Zambia. We say, if we can benefit the 20 million citizens of Zambia, how do we allocate portions to each individual? And that is now what we have to also start looking on based on your question. So projects must be able to work for groups of people. We must be able to allocate the youths and look at their capacity as youths. We must be able to look at the business fraternity and allocate the business world as a business world. We must be able to look at the older generation and how we can be productive as older generation as that generation. So if we are coming up with projects, we must come up with projects which are youth oriented. We say, if we can come up with youth oriented projects, we are talking of all collectiveness of youth participating towards a common goal. Then if we are talking of the business world oriented projects, we are talking of individuals who are in the business sector, all of them participating towards one common good. Means to say the benefit of the other still lies as your own personal benefit. President Hakainde Hichilema right now might not come to my home, Lushomo Hamahuwa, and knock on my door to say, I've come to bring development or change for you, Lushomo. But the correctiveness of youth empowerment and such projects which are coming in as soon as I step in there, I also become a partaker of what? Of the benefits that align with them. So those are the same strategies now we are trying to come up with to make sure, ensure to say all youths are involved. I mean to say if all youths are involved, almost every youth feels part and parcel of those projects. The business world with its own projects, if they feel that are involved, starting from our mother who is selling tomatoes in the market, will feel part and parcel of such projects. Meaning to say that as we come with projects. That is why now the Congress we are talking about will have to speak, because now these are representatives from different organizations. The youths must be able to come through their own representatives and say, this is how we feel all youths will participate in the development of Choma. They might be able now to submit projects which will work for them. The business society will come and say, we also have such projects, and we feel this is the way, as the business society of Choma will participate effectively. They will be able to come up with their own projects. But now, what comes up is, as the municipal council, how do we now fund? How do we allocate resources? And how do we have all these projects come into a genuine consensus? So we just have to work on that criteria rather than us paying attention on an individual. Lushomo Hamahuwa, what am I going to do for you as an individual for development? But if we can work on a sector, a group of people, and everyone feels involved, I think we'd be doing the most there.
So while we're on this topic of economic development and social services, how will you improve access to quality education, healthcare, and other essential services in Choma?
Come again, my network was glitching.
How will you improve access to basic services such as education, healthcare, and other public services in Choma?
Okay. So, number one, Choma, talking on social services, Choma has a very good number of community halls and other structures which are meant for community organizations, community coming together to share such ideas. We have to work on um, we have to work on bringing these back into work or into function again. We have schools which are having challenges with maybe sanitation and stuff like that. We have to find ways of coming into their aid. I mean to say, as a municipal council, we must be able to boast of our own schools. As a municipal council, we must be able to boast of eradicating what would I call it? Eradicating the issues which are attached to sanitation. We are having issues with sanitation in Choma. We don't have bins and stuff like that. As a council, we must be able to boast on that. If we can create bylaws, which we work first of all, starting with the sanitation project. If we can create bylaws which are strictly meant to make sure to say that sanitation is taken as cohort in Choma, then we would be doing the most. Talking about schools are having issues with water crises. The schools are having issues with lack of infrastructure. As a municipal council, we must be able to come in and make sure to say all institutions are working fine. If we need to find ways of investing or distributing resources to them, as a municipal council, 28 heads in the
Mm.
council must be able to come up with resolution and ideas on how we are going to bring back hope into such institutions. Healthcare services. The council has been building, with in partnership with the Ministry of Health, they have been building a clinic in Zambia compound. That clinic, if I told you that I was before I started my first grade, that clinic was already being built. I remember I even had an opportunity to play football near the same place
Wow.
because the yard was too big, and we used to play football. The council workers would come chase us out, would run away. So that is the place. But until today, the place has not yet been commissioned. What are the reasons? Reasons are based on when I myself asked our counselor on why the place is not functioning. We had issues of ownership to say that the owner of the land uh, the land did not belong to the state, belonged to an individual, stuff like that. Okay, there was a very big story to why the place was not functioning, but I felt to say that those are not excuses which we can be given to society. It has now been over 15 years that place or that institution is not working. But that was a council project. So why can't council now come together and say, what are we going to do towards this? If we are writing letters to central government to give us workers, let us do that. If we are going to say we are going to employ our own people, let us do that. If we are going to say we need projects which are going to help us achieve this, let us do that. So we have to work with now civil societies who can also work on bringing these services back to life. Choma is like in recreational facilities. Those are also social services which have to be given to communities. But it is the mandate for the council to provide such for its residents. But Choma has failed to do that. Most of them have been closed, nothing is working. Private recreational facilities have been there. The council must be able to create that. How do we do that? We must be able to allocate funds. It is not a joke of having over 31.1 million kwacha, which is coming for CDF annually. It's not a joke. So we can allocate or dedicate funds for such projects. That is a lot of money, which Choma would have smiled differently. The market system, for example, one of the biggest markets in Choma, Makaranguzo, almost every year is able to yield over 2.5 million kwacha as revenue from the market. But why can't we allocate and dedicate some funds in a period of time to work on our health sectors? Because other health sectors already dilapidated, they need renovation. Why can't we work on that? If the central government cannot give us necessary, why can't the council be able to employ its own people, put them on minimum wage, but our main interest is to give services to our community? I think those are moves we can get to move in as a municipal council, even
Well, it appears that we have. Right, he's back. Show me you there. Thank you.
yes, I'm there. The traffic is down.
No problem. No, we'll segue to my next question because it ties into what you were saying. How will you ensure that all residents, including vulnerable groups, have access to basic services? Because there are groups that who low income people who don't have access to basic services. So how will you, as mayor, work with those groups and ensure that they also have access to these basic services?
Okay, so as a municipal council, as a government, we also have our part. But we also get to recognize to say that we have civil societies who have dedicated their lives into such services. But unfortunately, I get to notice to say that most of the civil societies are known but functioning. And the way they are functioning, we realize to say that their mandate towards youth involvement or service delivery to the community is not as it is prescribed in most of their constitutions. I think this is now the time when we have to engage with civil societies, organizations who have dedicated their lives towards such services. Because where are they? They're not coming in. In as much as the council, we have our own duty in this, but we have civil societies who have dedicated. So if they cannot function as individually, we have to come into a consensus call together with the council on how we are going to reach out to our society. For example, we have the Young Women Christian Association, which deals with issues that pertain women, gender-based violence, and other legal issues which affect women. So how does the council come in? We have social welfare. How does the council come in? So this is now where we come in. When CDF grants are given or when CDF money is pumped in the council, it has different sectors it is allocated with. But we do not really see effectiveness in how those funds have been allocated. And that is now the frustration we have as residents of Choma. So, how do we come in? So, how we come in is engage with civil societies, because the civil societies who have dedicated their lives into looking at the elderly, but we have not seen them actually effectively working with the elderly.
Yeah.
There's a rampant rise of elderly in our society who do not have homes, who cannot even attend good meals and stuff like that. But we have civil societies who claim that that is their duty, but we have not seen them doing anything. So we have now to revamp and maybe remind each other of our own duty. And now this is where we're coming. There's a project I'm already trying to draft right now, whose main idea is to help raise awareness, work on the mental health of our elderly, our senior citizens, and also maybe one way or the other help fund for basic needs for our society. So, how do we come about it? We want to engage with civil societies themselves. We want to engage with the business world and other well wishers who would be willing to look on these people. So, we are planning on reclaiming a community hall which has been abandoned for years now. It once turned into a courtroom, turned into a church, turned into a bakery. Right now, it's a white elephant. So
Mm.
we want to rebuild that place, create a facility where we'll be talking about mental health, call all the old women, the old men in society who are busy begging in the streets. We want to find ways on how we can use that energy
Mm.
they use from their homes to the streets to beg into useful energy. They have skills. Some of our women can knit, can do other things. We want to create a friendly space of the old women, a friendly space of the old men. We want to create a society where we can preach mental health for the old women and see if this organization we want to create can also help in preaching morality and fighting moral decay in our society. So imagine if we can have such institutions, organization now having a space where they can now directly interact with the people they are required to target, where we can now use energy from the women into at least being able to give in what? Giving a source of income, not even a source of income, but just to reuse that energy into something productive. The same old women can still do something for fun. Let them come and interact. For fun, let them come and show us their skills. They know how to sew. Come up with an institution where young youths like us, who might not have an idea of how to sew, can come and learn from our elders. We can work on different projects with our own women. We can work on sensitization projects with our old women. We are talking of moral decay right now. Those are the people who can teach us the moral concept Zambian tradition has. So this is how we can bring organizations to fit in their goal. We're talking of youths. We want to create the same friendly space for the youths to have a space where they can enrich their skills. I was in Choma last week. I realized to say that we have a rampant use of upcoming artists. One
Mm.
challenge they are having issues like costs in production of their music and stuff like that. Why can't we bring other youths? There are youths who have the art in production. They can create the beats and stuff like that, but they do not have the instruments. We have the youths who can sing. So why can't we make it affordable for them? Why can't we create an opportunity for them, the world for them to see it? Right now, people are making money through social media. Why can't the government or a municipal council invest in such projects for its own citizens? Friendly spaces are very important because people who are well wishers, they're people who really want to dedicate their wealth, their finances, in helping individuals. But the problem is, where do they find genuine people who need genuine help? We have scammers around. They have the money. They want to create more money. How do they come in? They make themselves beggars. But if we can come up with such institutions, we are already calling organization to say, you are looking for people you want to target. We have them here. As a council, we have women and youth empowerment projects. We have FISIP projects. We have FISIP coming from the central government allocated for farmers and other old women projects like that. We have now a system where these people are already packed up together. And it is very easier for civil societies, organizations to target their interest in there. So it is now that space we would love to create for Choma.
Talk about youth empowerment and youth development, and what other initiatives will you implement to support skills development, youth education, and employment opportunities among young people?
Okay, so there's a project, I think I posted it on my social media, where I had an opportunity to visit the council to find out on how many youths benefited from CDF project training, skill training. I was told, and I was happy to realize to say that we had over 600 youths who were trained in agriculture, engineering, and other projects. So now, how do we uplift or promote such? So, number one, first of all, as we are preaching and promoting such, we must be able to show the people we want to promote to say that there's truly hope after you get this skill. We must be able to show them hope to say that your friends did it, you can also do it.
Mm.
Which must give them hope to say that this is truly a skill towards development. So youth empowerment must not end in giving them a skill, then you lack or you fail to give them a platform to enrich that skill. What we really have to work on is that after our people or our youths have been given a skill, have been educated in different things, how do they enrich it in society? That must be now our aim. So the article I wrote was a blueprint towards what we can do to promote such projects. We are talking of youths who have been trained under agriculture. Why can't the municipal council spare land for itself? Just the way we give fertilizers to the farmers, fertilizer imports, seed imports to the farmers, why can't we also allocate such for our youths? Let the council spare land. We have over 600 youths who have been trained under agriculture. Come up with a plantation. Find ways of irrigating crops throughout the year. And those are projects we can talk about. If an individual, a white man settler here in Zambia, can be able to have such a project, what would stop 28 heads in a council?
Mm.
So we, I feel, don't really have to look on how do we educate more youth on and give them skills. The issue will be after giving the people skills, where do we take them? How can we create them a space where they can function and do that skill? Because now we have a lot of them. They're not even doing that skill. They have been trained under agriculture, but they've been seated for over 3 years home. They do not know where they can take that skill to. So we realize to say that taking or getting a skill is not an issue, but where to make use of that skill is an issue. So youth empowerment must work on projects that give hope after you empower a youth with a skill. So if you're going to empower youths in agriculture, we must be able to find a space where we'll get them and put them after they're trained and given that skill. We must be able to create a service or a market for them outside there. So for me, youth empowerment is not really an issue. A lot of youths have been empowered. A lot of youths are now even shunning away from empowerment.
Mm.
Why? Because they know to say that even when I get a skill, I'll end up like my neighbor. He has nowhere to exercise his skill. So better I just get a degree, which is far away from a skill, but just get a degree where I can just work on a casual work, a casual basis, an accountant as what. But we also need skill and empowerment through such issues. We're talking of projects. I was saddened to realize to say that a lot of youths have come up with cooperatives. And these cooperatives would apply for grants and loans to empower themselves after getting such skills. Unfortunately, the applications are not noticed. Sometimes they would be told to say that the applications have been approved, but they do not still get their funds. They're not able to still empower themselves. I know one. There's another group called Kundana Advocate group. They've come up with projects. They've requested for funds. They say that the funds was approved, but there is nothing for them.
Mm.
So we have to create a transparent system where when people truly make an application and they're approved, they must be able to make use of what has been approved for them. So that is what we have to work on. Instead of just giving out a skill, be able to provide a space where they can apply that skill.
So you're saying that it's not really a question of empowerment because young people already empowered. It's just a question of implementation.
Yes, I would say so. Not really to say that we are getting rid of empowerment as a whole. We'll continue empowering people. We have been empowered even before the CDF empowerment project came in. Just that the CDF empowerment project made it easy for everyone to watch, to go on board. But we still had people who are still able to acquire those skills outside there. So it is a system which has always been there. We just thank God that it has been made easy for the youth to be empowered. But after being empowered, where do I take and apply my skill? After
Mm.
I've been empowered with a skill, how do I function and become relevant in society? That has been an issue now because they're talking of me being empowered under the agricultural sector, but I don't even know where to start from. I don't even own land. I cannot even afford that same land. I cannot even afford the bag of fertilizer. I cannot afford the bag of seed. How do I go about it? I made an application. My application was not considered. My
Mm.
application was considered, but I've not received any funds. So, what kind of empowerment are we talking about? So, we need a transparent system where empowerment is true empowerment. We should not just empower by skill, but we should also empower by functionality. Let the people who have been empowered be able to function in society with the skill they have gotten.
And then it ties into my next question is, how will you ensure that the concerns of young people, the young people of Choma and their ideas, because you talked about the really the foundation of, you said politics, you want to create a society of ideas. So how will you ensure that young people in Choma, their ideas and their concerns are integrated into the policy making process,
The Congress
the
I
Congress?
mentioned earlier about. Because that is the only way we can have opinions from society. This is the only way where I can have an opinion from a grade 12 who has a vision for a country. We do not want to create a society where everything has been just allocated by the law. Remember, we are all citizens, but even a grade 12 who might not have a voter's card, a grade 9 who might not have a voter's card, might still have an idea. I've had an opportunity to interact with youth. Actually, I've also been a child before where I would I would be 18, 16 years old, but you would still speak politics and you'd still find sense in a young child who tell you to say, but why can't the government do this? Why can't the
Mm.
government do that? And those are still ideas we need. So the only way we can have that, a youth who cannot participate in politics because their age does not invite them to do so, let us create a non-political organization which can still make political decisions or can still make political submissions. It must not be a political organization, but this organization must be able to make submissions which are developmental and which can bring light into the political world. So the Congress itself is our only bus towards implementing and coming up with projects for development. Mean to say we can draw submissions from everybody. The best example I can give is the amendment, the current amendment. You realize to say that trying to come up with corrective ideas towards the amendment on how we can improve the current amendment, they have created a technical committee which has gone around the whole country to receive ideas, to receive thoughts. So
Mm.
this is what we want to create. We might not now come up with a committee which will go in society, but we want society to come in together and give us continuously ideas for development. And we do not care whether you are a grade one, you're a grade two, you're an old, you're an adult person, you are a woman, you are not from Choma, you are non-government, you're not a partisan. We want everybody as long as you breathe the air in Choma. You might not be there specifically as an individual, but we want it to be an open space where even you can still come in and share an idea. We want to create an open space where organization, the business sector can come and say, as a business family in Choma, we have we have such a thought, this is how we want to implement it. Where you as an individual, you know to say we'll be sitting as a congress on such and such a day, you can still come with open doors and say, I have to go and have my voice heard there. That is the only way we can have voices heard, I believe.
I want to
It is
transition.
beyond the act of God.
Thank you. I want to transition now to sort of questions on governance. Um, are you affiliated with the political party, and how will you balance party loyalty with the needs of the people of Choma?
Wow, that is a very interesting question. Um, I've been invited to a few political parties. Would love you to run under our political party, stuff like that. I might not mention the names,
No
but
problem.
I've decided not to affiliate myself with any political party.
Okay.
Not to say that their political parties are. I do not share my ideology. There are political parties I believe in the ideology. For example, I believe in the socialistic ideology. I believe in the youth involvement ideology of uh, Ichaba Iche movement. There's a movement now in Zambia called Ichaba Iche.
Anyone?
Yeah, Bino Mpunde and his team. I believe in the ideology of Ideas for Development by Christopher Kangombe. I
Yes.
believe many. I also believe in the ideology of the the UPND party itself.
Mm.
So, but one thing we have recognized is that we have had people who even have best ideas on how they can develop a country than I have. We have had mayors who have stood podium across Zambia and given ideas and have spoken sense better than I am saying it right now. But unfortunately, when they made office, they were between the line
Mm-hmm.
where they have to choose whether to pledge their allegiance to the political party which helped them attain the office or the people who ushered them into office. There's that thing where Lushomo Hamahuwa might not have the funds to run a very big campaign like the UPND would do it. Then the UPND comes and says, okay, we believe in the ideology and we love what you believe in. We want to sponsor you. They come and do everything for me, and for me, it is an easy walk into power. Then later on, I have to pledge my allegiance whether with the UPND or with the people who voted me into power. Remember, I also owe my allegiance to the political party. At the same time, I must also owe my allegiance to the people who voted me into power. So now we have that controversy within politicians, and that is the controversy I've been trying to run away from. I want to be independent. This movement which I have is a society of ideas. I do not want to function based on political interest. Because to be honest with you, that every political party which comes in power has its own agenda and has its own interest.
Yes.
But what I don't want is to align myself to a political party's interest and abandon the interest of the people who voted me into power. Just imagine you have to implement such a project, and the political party tells you to say, that place you are in is not yet fully our stronghold. We want to implement such a project approaching elections. So for now, hold on it until that period of time. And I fail to function because my political party I'm affiliated to has its own agenda.
Mm.
They want to win another election and they want me to hold projects right now so that we can in the hearts of those people who are supporters approaching elections so that they feel to say we are working, to hypnotize them from the reality to say that we have not been functioning all this time. Right now, we are seeing a rampant rise of projects in Choma. And now the people have been asking to say, where have these people been ever since 2021?
Mm.
We are now having bridges being built. They're digging up the road, bridges are being put there. They're trying to work on roads, grading roads and stuff like that. But these people have been there ever since 2021. What makes them come up with these projects right now? We realize that political parties get to enter into what I call a campaign mode,
Mm.
even before campaigns are already set on track. But I do not want such influence which tells me on how I must interact with the society. I want to pledge my allegiance to the people and not to the political party. I do not want to share my morality on whether to serve the people or the political party, but my I want to pledge my allegiance on the people and my own moral standards. I don't want to stand with a political party. I want to stand with my moral principles and the people I'm leading. That's all. So I have decided to run independently, to run away from political interference and political influence. I just have to look at the people I'm leading and what remains right with my conscience.
I admire that, and I think you touched on a lot of themes that unfortunately we live in a society where our elected officials, even though election time is far away, they they're always in campaign mode, which is to the detriment of the people that they represent. So what steps, because you're independent, but I'm assuming if you win, you'll get a lot of attention because you're young, you're only 22. Elections are in August next year, so you'll be 23. I'm sure you'll be one of the youngest, elected officials in the country. You'll be mayor of, definitely one of the, the largest cities in Southern Province. So there'll be a lot of attention on you. I'm sure that there'll be political parties that will want to, as you said, you've had people come and, ask you to be a part of their banner. So as mayor, what steps will you take to ensure, if you are elected mayor, because I'm sure political parties will want you to appoint their people to government. What will you do to ensure that people are appointed on a merit-based system instead of just handing out because you're loyal to the party?
Okay, so we might not get rid totally of the old folks. We need the experience. We need to learn from those who have come before us at the same
Mm.
time. The only way we are able to have this work out for ourselves is a society of ideas for development.
Mm.
We want to create a platform where we do not sit on the same table and have grudges on where you are coming from and where you pledge your allegiance. We want to create a society where everybody, regardless of their political affiliation, can still sit down and say, political parties by the door. We are here and we are people and residents of Choma. What can we do for our people? That is an environment we have to create. And if Zambia can start moving in such a trajectory, believe me, would be creating a perfect place for Zambia. Because now what is happening is that because you are opposition, even the right things you need to oppose. Just because your team is opposition, even when it is a plus to the development of the country, you have to oppose. So, what we want to create is a society of ideas for development, regardless of where you are coming from, who you pledge your allegiance to, whether you are a political figure or what. When we come on the table to plan for the development of Choma, we must work towards the benefit of Choma. I mean to say, even our strategy in appointments will be based on the merit of, is this individual willing to serve the people of Choma? The
Mm.
best example I can have is our own African hero, Ibrahim Traore. In as much as he's a military man, he
Yeah.
is not politically oriented to or maybe attached to a political party, but we still see people from former political parties still holding some portions of government. Why? Because their service and duty is genuine. And that is the merit we must also now make our appointments. So I won't have any problem if a PF candidate, a PF cadre can still fit in this position and be know to say that they work genuinely for the betterment of the people. We must put political issues aside, but look on how people might give service to the country. And those are the ways we have to look into. Political parties must only end after elections. Immediately one is elected, I submit to the public, let us put political parties aside. Our duty now is between the people and you who has been voted in. Rather than working now, even when you have been voted into, you want to still rally behind a political banner. That's why people are failing to make functions, and we're failing to hold people accountable, because now we have to look at, say, who should we take accountable or hold accountable? The man or the political party?
My next question as we begin to wind down, and again, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and share your vision, because I'm excited, and I believe that this conversation has been inspiring. My next question is around public service, politics and public service. What incentives or programs would you propose to encourage more young people to consider careers in public service?
Come again, sorry.
I said, what programs would you propose to encourage more young people to consider careers in politics or public service?
Okay. I would love to be a bit different from the common politician in that. I'm somebody who my parents have come to support me. They love the ideology I have. But ever since my parents had, no, Lushomo, you cannot go into politics, go and study medicine. No, Lushomo, you cannot go into politics, go and study pharmacy. No, Lushomo, go and do human resource management and stuff like that. Nevertheless, it doesn't really matter what program or what one would find himself studying to benefit or to work effectively in public services. Almost everything we are doing, everything we are training ourselves to become is to at least find a spot there in society. So I feel everybody must be willing to do something out of passion. People must be willing to study a degree, to do whatever they want to do, get a skill, get an opportunity in education based on how much they're willing to give to the society. Because even if I become a doctor, I'm still bringing in into public service. I'll still
Yes.
find myself in public service. Even if I'm studying to be a lawyer, I still find myself in public service.
Public service.
So we need everybody to come on board. It doesn't matter what you're going to study. If you want to go study journalism, but if you feel you can still make a difference in politics, join politics.
That's right.
If you feel to say that your passion is in medicine, go and study medicine. But if you feel to say that you can still make a difference in politics, come and study politics, come and do politics. So we do not really have to lock down. That is what we're already running away. There's a thought which has been going rampant to say, we have been having a thought which has been going rampant to say, no, let us raise the bar in qualification for public service. Let us just have a degree holders and stuff like that. From there now, we're going to say, since we have degree holders, doctors do not understand politics properly, let us have it restricted to lawyers and journalists and stuff like that. That is now the trajectory we'll be moving in. But it doesn't really matter. What matters is the interest of an individual to serve the people. Whether you have a degree in medicine, whether you have a degree in law, whether you have a degree in teaching, if you have the capacity to lead, come and lead. That is what is there. If you have the idea, you're grade 12, you have projects, you have programs you feel to say you can establish, join hands with the people who can still buy in that idea and make it alive. Because what we need at the end of it all is to create a society of ideas for development. If we can get development out of the medical fraternity, let us also marry it with ideas from the legal fraternity towards development. If we can create ideas for development from the business society, let us still be able to find ways of having the medical ideologies, the political ideologies, the legal ideologies fabricated together into ideas for development.
Wow, 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 wow. I like that. If you have a passion for public service, you should pursue it. And I like how you said that public service is not just about politics, it's law, it's going into medicine. You are a citizen journalist, it's education. So those are all ways of contributing to our discourse, our civic discourse. I like this. My final question, final two questions. What message would you like to leave with the people of Choma as you embark on your mayoral campaign?
So I've only had one message. So our message is ideas for development.
Society
We
of
are
ideas.
ideas of for development. We are a collection of individuals with different thoughts. And none of us, as long as you've never thought of committing suicide, it means to say you still have a hope and a vision to make it in life.
That's
But do
right.
not make it alone in life. Mean to say that there must be people who will help you work towards that. And those ideas for development can come from whosoever. Do not look at Lushomo as a young person who is too young to make a change. I
Mm,
can never be matured to vote and immature to lead. That
mm,
is hypocrisy. I can never be matured to vote and immature to lead.
mm.
So if I can be matured to see what I need as an individual, as a citizen of Zambia, then I'm matured enough to work towards making a change in the step and achieving what I really want to see. So let us not look on the aspect of maturity by age, but let us look at maturity by content.
Mm.
Let us not look at maturity by age, but let us look at maturity on what we can bring on the table. There is a proverb in Bemba which says, "Bakuru bambi masaka." It is true. Let us not look at the age, but let us come on the table and say, what can we do for the people? And let us debate on ideas right now. Let us bring in ideas. I might be 22. Give me somebody who's at 45 and let us debate on ideas for development. And let us see where we go. And let society be able to make a distinction on ideas, not the age.
Mm.
We have had old people all this while. Right now, people are still complaining. Almost every year, people have been complaining about politicians.
That's
Tell
right.
me, who has ever been president in Zambia below the age? Actually, who has ever been president in Zambia below the age of 45?
Wow.
The president's age right now in Zambia is 35. But who has been president in Zambia below the age of 45?
Nobody.
But people have still done what? Have still complained. It
Mm.
means to say that age does not really mean to say one would lead well and is mature to lead. We have a young man who ascended into power in his early 30s. He was 30. Ibrahim Traore was 30 when he ascended to power. But in my own analysis, I feel Burkina Faso, between the age of 30 and the age he is right now, Burkina Faso has been able to attain what Zambia has failed to attain in 15 years. But in a period of 5 years, Burkina Faso has been able to attain it.
Wow.
And would you compare Ibrahim Traore's age to our current politician's age in Zambia?
Mm.
No. So that issue of 35 of age and stuff like that, that thing, if we're talking of amending the constitution, that is the part we must be able to amend. Let maturity be decided by the electorates. That's all. Let us be able to compete on ideas and let not our age hinder us. We have had young people who have made it in life somebody at the age of 28 is calling himself a millionaire, but we still have somebody at the age of 45 is still working on becoming a millionaire.
My
So
goodness.
he's more matured among the two. So
My
it's not
goodness.
really about the age. It's about what one can have in mind and what one can bring on the table. That is what we must look at. Let us put away the age and let us debate on ideas for development. Everyone is crying for development. So put Lushomo's age aside, but put that person who is running for mayor and the other person running for mayor and let them debate on issues of development. Then decide on the mind rather than the age.
Debate me on my ideas rather than my age. Yeah, I like that. My
The
final
scale I
question.
want you to put here.
That's powerful. My final question is, what are you most looking forward to accomplishing as mayor, and how will you measure your success?
I would love you to simplify the question
Sure,
so that I answer it well.
sure. What are you most looking forward to accomplishing as mayor, and um, how will you measure your success? What how will you govern your success?
Okay. Um, there's a certain writer who writes and says, live as if you have only one day on earth, but plan as though you have 1,000 years to live. So, how do I marry it to the question? My idea is, or my vision is, have every individual in Choma district have something to be proud of, starting from their financial capacity and them to boast of a society they are now living in. We have to create Choma a heaven. I believe to say that the United States of America was not built by angels. It was built by people who had the idea to develop the USA. So we can also have that there. So my aim is everybody must feel part and parcel in developing Choma. And everybody must have the capacity to develop Choma financially and mentally. Meaning to say that if we have to grow people in Choma, let us find a way of growing every person in Choma financially. Even just giving them an opportunity to live up to tomorrow to share an idea, I would be proud. So if we can achieve these two things, then everything for me is well and good. For me, if I could win or live, establish myself, reach a point where now I can no longer run for mayor in Choma, I have to retire from being a mayor in Choma. But I know to say that we have an active society whose main idea is development. I would be a proud leader who has led Choma.
Hmm.
Even if I was not to build the tallest building in Choma, but as long as I have left a society who has visions of making Choma a society of ideas for development, and I am guaranteed that those ideas can come to life, I would be proud. If in 5 years or 10 years, I'll be able to just create a society which can plan on making Choma great, and another person makes to or takes to implement those ideas into usable ideas, I would still be proud of myself. So that will be my measure of my success. An idea driven society where every mind in Choma is just dedicated into creating Choma great. If I can achieve that, even half, three quarters of the people in Choma having such a mind, I know to say that Choma will truly become great one day.
Wow. Any final words that you would like to offer to us? How can we follow you? How can we support you? Any final words you'd like to offer to our audience?
let us get in touch. Let us be available for each other. And it doesn't really matter where you're coming from. I've had no problem interacting with people from different political parties. For me, what matters is you and I, let us come together, create a society of ideas for development towards our political aspiration in next year, 2026. The only thing I want to go with is ideas for development, because those same ideas for development are the ideas I have to work on bringing to life immediately I swore in as the mayor for Choma. So if you want to support the ideology by posting, by sharing in any form, monetary form, anyhow, everybody is welcome on board. We do not care how much we bring on the table, even bringing in ideas. We will really treasure more ideas for development as we're going to treasure any material for development.
Well,
Remember, one is building a house. One first must plan before they lay the first brick. So those what we need. We need people who can say, Lushomo, I might not have the money to sponsor you, but I have an idea on how we can make Choma great. Let people come on board. Let them inbox me and share that ideology. Let them share ideas with me. And say, Lushomo, maybe that trajectory you are moving into might not be the right one. What if you consider this? All those opinions are welcome. Above all, ideas for development will need much to come to life. So whatsoever is on the table is welcome. Starting from ideas, the resources, everything is welcome.
well, Honorable, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. You're like me, you're a fellow college student. You're also running for mayor. So I'm nowhere near. But I wanted to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to meet and just to discuss um, soc- uh, a society of ideas. And I really want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule. I think you are an example of what we need more in our society, especially in our politics. We need more young people who are driven not by ambition, but by a desire to serve and by a desire to really make real the promises of government. And as you articulated, politics is not, should be, it is the only vehicle that is mandated to make social change. And we wish you good luck on your campaign. Please don't be a stranger. You're always welcome to come back and to share updates on your campaign. Obviously, we'll have you more as the election year unfolds. And God willing, if you're elected to mayor, you always have a friend here on Zambia Blog Talk Radio. And we would love to interface with you. And again, I want to thank all of our viewers who joined us today. We will add Lushomo's contact information. And as he said, please reach out to him. Those of you in the diaspora who want to help, I'm sure he'll be able to, I'm sure he will invite and welcome your assistance. Those of you who are watching in Zambia, please support this young man. We will add his social media. You can find him on Facebook. Again, his inbox is open. He's about crafting a society of ideas. And so, Lushomo, we would like to thank you, and to all of our viewers. Please share this. Please subscribe to our channel. Lushomo, please tell your folks to subscribe to our channel. Please share. And I will ask you this: if you know any, young people who are, pursuing careers in public service, please invite them on. We would love to, to talk to them. So anyone in your network, your sphere of influence, who is making change in Choma, in Lusaka, wherever, we would love to have them. So thank you very much, everyone. Lushomo, thank you very much, and we will see all of you next week. Pastor Nathan will be back, so I want to thank all of you for your time, and we'll see you all on the other side. Thank you.
Zambia Blog Talk Radio. Zambia Blog Talk Radio.